All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to the Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host for this morning's session, Benny Allen, along with my awesome partner, Mr. Ryan Carthage. And we're definitely happy and grateful for each and every one of you being here with us this morning as we take a look at the technicals and the fundamentals to see what we could take advantage of in this Forex market. So, without further ado, let's make sure that we turn off any and all distractions, grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes, and be sure to participate and engage. If everybody can hear me loud and clear this morning, do me a huge favor, drop me a one in the chat. Let me know my sound is good and we are all ready to go. Carolyn, good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. A good day to you as well. Appreciate you dropping a one. So let's make sure that we start out as always, right? We don't change a thing. Each and every morning, we want to start out taking massive action, meaning we're accepting all possible losses before entering a trade, preparing us for any outcome. We will always want to make sure that we center ourselves in body, mind, and spirit, assuring a balanced approach to trading. We want to continue to trust in our education, strategy, trading skills, and intuition. We always want to imagine our trade successfully materializing and that we are obeying our trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed or fear at all times. And we want to make sure that we are never looking back or stopping once our trade has commenced. Gotta stay disciplined. All right. So, hope everybody has enjoyed their week on this Friday here in the United States, the day before July 4th, Independence Day, and the July 4th weekend. So, um, definitely excited for that now. All right. Let's go over, right? Talk about the dollar a little bit, right? Because we know that it's been moving to the downside since the beginning of the year, since the new administration took office, right? It's been dollar down. So the US dollar index held steady though, around 96.7 on Thursday, hovering near a more than 3-year low as markets turn their focus to the upcoming June jobs report. Investors are closely watching the data for fresh signals on labor market health and the Federal Reserve's next move on interest rates. A weaker than expected report could enforce expectations for an earlier rate cut, potentially as soon as July. We've been talking a lot about that. On Wednesday, ADP data showed a surprise decline in private payrolls, with employment falling by 33,000 in June, fueling concerns over a softening labor market. On the trade front, President Donald Trump announced on Truth Social that the United States has reached a new agreement with Vietnam, which includes a 20% tariff on imports from the country. The deal raised hopes of additional bilateral trade agreements in the pipeline. Meanwhile, Trump's proposed tax and spending package, estimated to add 3.3 trillion to the national debt, is facing resistance from House representatives. But as we move over to the stock markets and we take a look at, give me one second here. Um, what was that out? Where did I have it? I have to find an article again that pretty much, oh, House Republicans clear critical hurdle in tax and Trump's tax bill debate. So it is moving forward. I was watching it last night before falling asleep. Um, a lot of them um, all fell in line, right? You had five no's and eventually they all fell in line. But right before I went to sleep last night, so I believe it's definitely going to pass. So it's only a matter of time. Probably it may pass today, actually. So we'll see how that goes. Moving over as far as the expectation of non-farm payrolls this morning, is expected to have risen by 110K in June, a slowdown from May's gain of 139. The employment rate is projected to edge up to 4.3%, the highest since October 2021, while wage growth likely eased to 0.3%. Overall, the report is expected to point to a continued cooling in the labor market as uncertainty surrounding tariffs, trade, and immigration policies leads many employers to adopt a more cautious hiring stance, right? So we shall see what happens this morning. So the expectation is for it to come in lower than it did last month. So expectation for 110K. We'll see if it comes in above or below that, right? So we want to be prepared for that this morning. So there's actually a lot going on for a Friday, right? We know non-farm payrolls typically first Friday of every month. On top of that, you've got the House debates and a possible bill passing, major bill passing, right before the holiday, which was the goal. So again, last night we had GOP holdouts fall in line, right? So passing pretty much paving the way for final passage, right? For Trump's bill. So we could definitely see some action in the markets on a Friday. Again, lots going on. So the main thing though, see how that non-farm payroll comes out. That is going to be um 8:30 this morning. Our average hourly earnings, non-farm employment change, unemployment rate, and claims for the U.S. We even got ISM services PMI this morning as well. We don't have Canadian employment data today, but we do have trade balance data uh, out of Canada. We also have natural gas storage, and uh, uh, and we've got FOMC member Bostic speaking, Raphael Bostic speaking today as well. Um, Early, right? We had CPI data month over month come through Switzerland, came in higher than expected, 0.2%. The forecast is 0.1%. So we'll see how that impacted the market. Um, any questions regarding the fundamentals so far? Thoughts, feedback? Um, Anybody? Nothing. All right. Well, moving over to taking a look at the spiders, looking at the stock market yesterday, right? S&P 500 breakdown. We got some good movement. Energy sector, 1.72%. Tech was over 1%. Materials was 1.5%. So when we take a look at materials, right? What companies are involved, right? Um, Man, PLC, Sherwin, Ecolab, right? Newmont Core, all this stuff is tradable for us, right? In the group, right? 4.83%, Air Products and Chemicals, Inc. So big day, right? Big day for materials. And then our energy sector, right? Got a pop yesterday as well. ExxonMobil, Marathon Petroleum Group, 4.5. Phillips 66, 3.31. All right. So some good tradable assets out there for sure, right? Getting some good movement. So let's move over and take a look at the DXY. Um, and we'll see, right? Still on this decline, right? Held up a bit, but we're definitely looking like we're moving to that D extension, quick, fast, in a hurry. So let's see what happens with non-farm. See if we get any type of a pullback um, in the dollar before heading lower. But right now, I mean, this is your 4 hour. Here's your 4 hour D extension at 96.18. Looks like we're trying to form a high there, right? We've got a low coming in right there that it has to push back through. Well, all roads point to these extensions, right? All roads point to these extensions. Any questions on the dollar at all? Right. Clearly bearish. We'll see what happens
No.
today. All right. Appreciate you, Jeremy. All right. All right. All right. So that's where we are. So let's take a look at, I want to go into, take a look at our stocks. We were looking at Coinbase. Let me find where I had it. I said my stop two. Um, there we go. So we're looking at Coinbase making a run, and we broke trend line yesterday on this 1 hour play. So we know we hit a daily D extension and got a bit of a correction. So if we go up to the daily first on Coinbase, you can see how we had another bullish day yesterday. So a slight correction. And from the daily, we're pushing up. But on the 1 hour play that we were looking at, we were looking for a correction. We got it. And then we reversed out, right? So we broke above that monthly 350 level. Um, so at this point, right, we look for any type of pullback and continuation. So right now in this 1 hour, right, Coinbase has a lot of momentum right now. So we look at this 1 hour setup, and let me pull this out so I can clear this up. Let me, let me pull this head and shoulders, move out of here so we can get some clarity. So if we move down to our one, right, we can see where we reversed out on this. Then if we head down, second, it's got a bunch of stuff going on here. There we go. Okay. So we head down to like our 15, right? Any type of a pullback, right? We may be able to catch a continuation, right? So here we are on the 5 minute, and we could try to drop our fibs to see if there's anything there for us. Nope, this is off for 382, right? So I was thinking maybe we come back and check back to this 350 level, which I tried to off this 5 minute already. I don't know if it'll pull back, but it's off and run. I was trying to see if there's any type of setup that we might be able to catch off of that, but it is here it is on the 15, right? Maybe we can get this pull back here and then look for that price to continue. But um Coinbase is one that you may want to get and hold, right? And so it's been moving pretty good to the upside. We can see where we made the U-turn here, okay, out of the zone off this double bottom. And so we were looking for another opportunity, right? It was a beautiful pullback, right? Now we've had another one, and we're just getting that trend line to break and move above 350. So we wanna try to get involved with that, right? If that's an asset that you want to take a shot at trading. So that's where we are there, but it's making quite a run, and I do expect it to continue to move higher, right? We are still here on this 4 hour, waiting to see if we'll get a deeper correction on Palantir. Not sure, right? Not sure, but we know we're just shy of that 382, and we hit that 80-20 zone, and we did get a reaction to the downside. So I'm trying to find a low price on this, but if you are playing this 80-20, you would actually be up right now, in this trade. So trying to wait on an opportunity, maybe even if we get back to 119, if we could go back to that level and it holds, right? For, here it held as resistance, tested as support. So if we can get a move back down to 119, um, and we start to hold there, might play that off of a trend line break. Um, but ultimately, I would love to see it move lower, but I'm not sure if we'll go back that low. Um, but you never know with a lot of the fundamentals that are events that are happening right now. Um, our roadblocks on the 4, right? We finally got our new AB boundary. So I'm just sitting, waiting to see if we can get a correction on roadblocks, right? See if we can get that to move down and get long, right? I like buy opportunities on these, so I'm willing to be patient and wait, right? If you're already involved in it, then you're just waiting to see if you can get a pullback to add to the position. Here's Robinhood on the daily. This is this looks like this is just going to continue to run to the D extension, so we'll have to wait for the next setup, right? So you can see here where we've got it at 79.08, where we didn't get a pullback, came and hit that extension, and now it's looking like it's making another consecutive run. So we move out and we to the monthly time frame on it, you can see how it's just running, right? We took out the high, right? We took out the high. Look at that, right? So do we eventually get some sort of pullback, maybe to retest the high um, and continue to move higher, right? Could be a beautiful cup and handle later down the road. We'll see on this daily chart, but that one has a lot of positive momentum going. This is our Visa setup, right? We got to move higher, and now we're sitting on the pullback, right? So we covered Visa in detail. We got a gap up here, at least on this smart trader chart, right? That we want to fill, but we expect it to move higher over time. So that's a buy and hold for me, but this is a 1 hour chart. This was the last opportunity to get in it. We do have a check back now, right? Bit of past resistance becoming future support, and we'll see if we can get it to move higher. But just know, right, that if you're trading short term, we could definitely see some shocks in the market, right? But I intend to hold this Visa play no matter what, right? No matter what. I've got a pretty wide stop on it. So that's where we are in regards to the Visa that we've been covering. Meta, right? 80-20, right? 1 hour. Daily D extension up there, 762.84. But we're getting a good correction out of this 80-20 zone. Really good correction. So of course, we would like to see it continue to fall, right? TP1 is at that 382. That's right at the 681.83 daily level that could act as support. We got a 709 daily level that has got to fight through first. But you can see clearly, does not matter the asset, we are clearly getting, right, a breakdown out of this 80-20 zone, right? So if you made a play on that, and you can see this solid black line here at 740.18, that is a major high, right? So we move out and we go take a look at the monthly level. You can see, right, what's trying to occur here. Okay, let me pull this out so we can be clear, right? We can see where we're trying to move higher. But that's the monthly level. And that was your monthly fib. And you can see here where we're trying to get this correction to occur, right? Like so. Didn't mean to pull that out of there. So there we are. Right? Moving down. So waiting on the correction. So if you're a buyer, right, you're looking for a good discount, a good low price on Meta, right? And then this is Oracle. When we're taking a look at that, is making a U-turn off of 382 right now. That's looking like that's going to continue to push higher through resistance. So we didn't get a deep correction. We didn't get an 80-20 on that last one. And I've got a buy set up there, right? So that 382 is not the zone that I'm trading. I could pull this out because that 80-20 didn't play out. Got a slight correction on that previous 80-20, but then it just continued. That's just how the markets have been, right? With some of these, but we got a 382 bounce here, and we're moving higher, and that may probably continue to go, especially if we break through that 229 level, that B boundary. So that's where we are on Oracle. If you're trading off of that level, right, and it's taking off, and you don't mind trading off of that level, right, then you can move lower to see if you can catch you know, part of that U-turn, right? That's that C running. What I'm gonna do is I'll run it off of this low here, the 5, just to make sure that this is where we want to be. There. And this one's already running. Right? It's already running. So even on the 5 minute, it's already made the U-turn out of the zone, headed for the D extension. Right. So again, right, good positive movement out of the stock market. What's the importance of the gap? Oh, because a lot of times just price action likes to go back and fill those gaps. So there are some people, especially, you know, um, like day traders, that if they see a gap where the market is gapped up or gapped down, oftentimes, the market will eventually find its way to fill that gap, right? That's just that's just traditionally a lot of times how it goes in the market, right? When you see gaps, eventually that gap will be filled, price will work its way back, and then it may continue on beyond it, and then it may, depending on the fundamentals, it may revert. Once it fills that gap, it may reverse, and continue its trend, right? So if you see the market gap down, the market may come back, find that price, fill the gap, and then reverse and continue the trend, or it may just continue to uh to move higher, right? So there are traders out there who trade gaps. I typically don't let it, you know, I don't typically don't use it as a strategy. I recognize it, but I typically stick to, how I normally trade. Like if a market gap down and I've got a fib running to the upside, and when it gapped down, it came into my 61.8 zone on a fib, and I want to trade a C to D. Well, it'll fill that gap on the way up, right, as it makes a C to D run. So I don't trade it, you know, just because it's a gap. I'll trade it if it hits my sweet spots. Is typically how I do it. I can use it as additional confirmation and say, yeah, in addition to it hitting a 61.8 and finding support and breaking a trend line at my stochastics in the buy zone, it also has a gap it has to fill to the upside. So that's just additional confirmation for me. It's typically how I play it. Jeremy, great question there. Uh, so that's where we are on
Thank you.
individual. You're welcome. With some of the individual stocks that I'm following, um, some other ones that I'm following is we've got Tesla. Still, we got a good bounce on Tesla at that 296 level. Um, lot of back and forth, trying to find a low price on it. This was the 80/20 that we played. I want to see it move higher, but I want that's the ultimate low price. This is a 4 hours in the buy zone. So it's come to that, around 296 twice. It actually went below it, but I'm a long-term buyer um, of Tesla. Um, here's Apple moving higher on the daily chart, right? So we've got a bit of a range. I actually, over the long term, this is running it off this last leg. I actually, over the long term, I don't. It may stay trapped in this range for a while, but I was tracking this last leg, but I actually, you know, like Apple long term to break that consolidation to the upside. Just with the way the market's going, everything, looking at, rate cuts. I guess just because you got some concerns out there, and some things that are mixed. But if it breaks that range to the upside, right, look for a breakout, right? So I'm gonna do this on that, right? Because this is me just with my long-term investment hat on. Like I like a I like a I like Apple to recover and move long. So what I'm gonna do is just play this as a breakout, right? Because we've got a weekly level that it needs to break through. It's in this range. like that. And so I would like to see it move higher and break out of that range and continue long. Um, so let's see what happens. Right. Let's see, let's see what happens with it moving forward. Like I said, this was just tracking those lower lows and lower highs, right? So I had the fibs running, but long term, I like Apple to the upside. So we've got a bit of a range that we need to break out from. We've got a weekly level at 214.08. So let's see, right? And this all level from the weekly was past support, right? And we can act as resistance on the way back up. So we'll see what happens. See if we can finally break out of that range on Apple and continue long. And if we do get that breakout, then we can look at, right, this last low. So we could play it. So we do break out and we get about a 214. You look for pullbacks and continuations, right? So if we come down to like our 15-minute, 30-minute, whatever you're trading, okay, you can see where we are there. And we're pushing higher, right? So that's your 15-minute chart. Wonder what we look at would look like if we go up to our one. All right. This one, you probably got your capital fib that you can go off of. Yes. And it's moving higher like that. So you can see we pulled back at a 50% on that one, and it's just been ranging. Right. So we could play it like a breakout there. But we get above 214, any type of a pullback to retest the support, you got a de-extension pretty much at 219. Right? So I like it to the upside. It's making good movement. It just needs to get above 214, and see if it could continue its run, right? Because it's rejected almost three times, pretty much there, here, here, right? And then we respect it on the downside, that 193.47 level pretty much. So see if we can break out of that range on Apple and continue. Um, what else do we have? Amazon, right? Didn't get a huge correction, but it's moving. It's moving higher, right? 201.33. It seems like where it held up. So we didn't get it. I was hoping for a deep correction there, but we didn't get it. Let me go down to the one on this low to see what we look like on this 4 hour. I mean, on this 1 hour. People who like to trade that 1 hour chart, see where we are. Yep. So 382 pullback and it's just running, right? So I don't think we'll have major correction back down at this point. We got a 382 and it's off to the races. So that's where it's at. Maybe we get a pullback to this 216, another hard test there at 216. Play a trend line break to the upside, but I definitely don't think we're gonna get that major pullback there. Right. So maybe if we pull this out, right? If you could get it just to pull back a bit, reset at this 216.28 level, like so. Right? Like that. Then maybe we look to, right? Start our ABCD waves again. Like so. Right? So just those secondary plays, right? If you hold up at key levels of, in this case, a key level of support, that's a weekly level that it broke through, right? And see if you can continue it from there, right? Because then our sub-fib situation, right, could look like that. And then we move to this extension. And if this was one where, hey, I've been sitting in this long already, then maybe this mark up here is an opportunity for you to add to your position as it moves higher. Okay, so always a way, to get involved or to add to your position. But this original play, right, didn't hit the zone where I like to play, like to trade, right? That 190.77 on this 1 hour chart, right? A key higher time frame level with a 61.8 would have been beautiful, but the market has a lot of momentum to the upside right now. So we held up at 201, right? And you clearly see where, we got a trend line break like so, right? Got a decent swing, right? Held in that zone. And then it ran. So that's where we are, right? We always say stick to your rules, right? If you don't trade off at 382, hey, then that's not your play, right? So you have to be disciplined. But that's where we are on Amazon. Um, right, Meta moving down there. We got Microsoft, right? Coming off that 118 zone, right at that 80-20 area, making a correction now. So if you're a buyer, right, we just wait. If you're a buyer, you just wait, let it make its correction. Right? We'd love for it to make its way down. Not sure if it's going to do that considering what's going on, but you never know, right? Here's the Costco play kind of still pulling back again. See if we can get that for it to hold as a higher low and then continuous move. This is the daily chart that I'm looking at on Costco, right? But definitely still bullish on Costco. What else? Walmart, right? Was a play, right? That I'm big on to the upside long term. And so you can see we're still hanging within that AB boundary on that 1 hour play, just kind of moving sideways. We'll see if it picks up any momentum today. Um, let's move over to take a look at our indices. Looking at all types of time frames and setups. But you can see here on this 15-minute for the S&P, still moving long, right? Still moving long on the S&P. But hey, things could change today, right? We could see a reaction. So that 15-minute the ABCD play is still moving. We got that trend line break that we were talking about here a while ago up against that 200, and it's still pushing long. So it was a good day in the market. It really the spot positions played, are paying off, that the holding those positions through that downturn, and in April really paying off right now with the SPY with the QQQ. Um, that's doing really well. Um, and then like I say, I like holding a lot of these long term because of the dividend that it pays. I recently gained back on June 19th for holding those spot positions, $892 dividend just for holding it, right? One of the ETFs that I'm holding, EFA, gained a dividend of 281.78. And my EEM play, the ETF, 102.90. Made a dividend and then it made a small dividend on my small I have a small TLT position, right? 20-year bond, $91.92. Um, I hold SCHD. These are ETFs and things that we covered in the past. Just holding those long term, made $66 on the small position I have on that. Uh, so, PFF played just made $87 on the dividend. So a lot of these are paying out, really really good dividends right now as you hold them. So um, some decent plays, but the S&P holding on to that is really paying off. That's just a good one to have in your portfolio. Period. Um, US 30 1 hour, we're in the 80-20 zone. Recently hit an extension on that 1 hour play, and so keep this is one, especially ahead of non-farm payroll, and that bill that could pass today. I mean, it'd be um, this is one where you could see a reaction at this level, right? You got two daily levels right in that 80-20 zone, so that's one to keep an eye on the US 30. Again, if you're a buyer, you just need a low price, right? So you're waiting for price to correct. If you're trading those 80-20s, right, is definitely right in that zone. And we've got some resistance there that is going to have to fight through to continue. Our NASDAQ, all right, what are we doing on this one? Let me back out to the higher time frame, see what we've got going on. So let me pull these smaller fibs out. Okay. This is from the lower time frames. We'll just reset on this one a bit. That and so this is where we are, right, on the daily. So y'all can see where we're in that 80-20 zone now, and we just pushed through the highs, right? So beautiful V-type recovery again, right? That's why in the group we don't fear, because look at the recovery. It's now made, right? So when we go back and we look at the correction that it made, it has now made a full recovery. Here's April, right? The pullback, and now it has continued, right? It has continued to push through the highs. So the question is now, do we have some fundamental occurrences that cause a bit of a correction at this level, especially since we just broke through the highs? Or are we going to see some profit taking and things like that? Uh, we'll see. We'll see. It's that data a lot of tell us today with non-farm payroll, because we know that your major market participants are trying to get a beat on if we're going to see those rate cuts um, as early as next month. All right. So just know, hey, technically we're at some key levels. We just broke through the all-time highs, and we could see a bit of a correction before a continuation. Um, but like I say, a lot of these it has paid off just holding them, right? Having great risk management, and just holding, right? Holding. So this is the Nikkei, right? And I know we were working on some lower level plays, but I really like to take that bird's eye view, right? A lot cleaner. And we can see where this is a higher time frame target, but really like to see where, um, lower time frame. Let me pull that off, and then we'll rerun it from the C low through the lower time frames. But on this daily chart, right, you see that the extension is right back at the high. Okay, right back at the high. We've got a 382 pullback. We've got a decent pullback into these daily levels here at 39,636, right? So do we see eventually a correction from there? Maybe we stall out. You see our stochastic on the daily is in the sell zone. Maybe we stall out for a bit, but we'll see if this holds up from a daily chart perspective as a higher low, and do we get a continuation? So it's going to be interesting over the next couple of weeks with a lot of these plays. So let's move down to the one. Take us a look at what we have. All right, so let's find that C from the daily, run our fibs from there again, just so we get a fresh markup just ahead of all the data. Uh, see where we stand. Okay. So we took it out there. Okay. Beautiful 80-20. Right. That pulled back. Look at that. All the way down. And so now, right, the question is from this 1 hour chart, which way are we going to break out, right? Because we've got this tight consolidation, right? Just ahead of non-farm payroll data here in the US. Do we break out and do we continue to move higher, right? So you can see we got that initial break, right? That initial break taking out the highs here, and then we pull back and we start to move sideways. So 1 hour chart stochastic is in a buy zone. This one should be quite interesting to see which way it moves next, right? So that's your 1 hour chart there. So let's see what happens, but we need price to break out. Just moving sideways right now. That one, UK 100, right? Look at this all over the place, but it's continued to move higher, right? So a 15-minute play, right? Inner outer long-term trend line break, but that last fib, right, got taken out. But it's looking like it's trying to move to that extension after the fact. Things get a little wacky on those lower time frames, right? Let's move out to our daily, see where we are, right? New AB boundary, right around that 80-20 area. All right, so maybe we break out to retest the highs there. To retest the highs. We'll see on this UK 100. We move down. Let's move to our four. Yeah. So I'm thinking we probably, could press a bit higher, right? Retest everything, but that's definitely moving, right? Trying to grind its way to the upside there on the UK 100. So not a whole lot doing, not a whole lot doing there. And then your German 30 on your 15, still within that AB boundary, right? This is a play that we were looking at, kind of just stalling and consolidating. We'll see if it moves higher, right? If it wants to move higher, but just moving sideways right now. But we did pull into our buy zone. Yeah, we did pull into our buy zone there. Now, this one is the one that I like a lot. Is the Russell. This is one that I expect to continue to move higher, right? We've got a beautiful move on this 15-minute right now. But I do like the Russell 2000, right? Our small caps to continue to, let me pull this out and move higher. Um, to get long, right? So just it's out. Four, right? There we go. So we got a decent pullback, right, up against 382, right, up against that daily support, and it's been moving higher ever since. So I like, right, and we were working some of these sub fibs. I like the Russell to continue to the upside. So moving around on your lower time frames, if we had that 15-minute setup, any pullbacks, I like to see this to continue to the upside, right, on the Russell 2000. So definitely a buyer, right? We're getting good movement out of these indices right now. Let's see what happens with the major data today. Non-farm payroll, again, right, to go back to review, we've got non-farm payroll coming up for the United States. We've got ISM services PMI, and then we've got the major bill that could pass today. So let's see what happens. Let's see how the market reacts. It's hard to tell, right? We know, again, can't say it enough, that the unemployment data is going to be very, very important because everybody's trying to figure out when that interest rate cut is going to come. Okay. So that's where we are there. Moving into um, taking a look at some of our commodities. This oil play, uh, I did finally put in a small position. Hold on a second. My bad, y'all. This oil play finally did put in a small position um, to the upside. And so this is the daily on oil. We had this deep pullback that we were talking about. We're right in between that 50 moving average and that 200. That daily stochastic is in the buy zone. Um, so I look for it to move higher, right? That's what I'm hoping it does, right? Because I do have a position in on that. So I'd like to see it to continue to make gains, especially we get above that 200 moving average here on the daily. That's gonna get me really, really excited. Donut. Uh I was surprised they didn't take vacation either. It's uh it's amazing what they're willing to do for this president. I tell you that, because typically they are. Typically they are on vacation. Hold on one second. I thought I had my stuff plugged in here, but basically not. Give me one second. All right, I'm back. But yeah, typically they are gone, but they are working a day before the fourth, right? Um, so we'll see what happens with that today. I know they're all ready to go on vacation, right? So we'll see how fast they work. Um, Ryan, good morning, man. How are you?
Good morning, bro. I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. What's going on? What are your thoughts with this bill with this bill situation? Like I said, I was watching it last night before Uh, I fell asleep, and it was a lot of tussling back and forth. But falling asleep in my mind, I'm like they'll eventually fall in line, and that's what they did.
Yeah, man. I definitely think they all fall in line. Me, I'm curious on what these backdoor conversations are and what he has on them, and how he's able to get them to move. But I think at the end of the day, uh, it's gonna move through. I think it's wild, but yeah, and I don't think there's going to be um, anything good for the majority of the American people.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I don't see anything good for the majority of the American people coming out of this.
yeah. And Larry Summers, who I follow a lot, right? Top economist, served as Treasury Secretary. A lot of folks go to him for advice. He said the bill is more budget busting than big and beautiful. We help balance the budget but Trump's plan unbalances our finances and our country. Um, GOP bill could worsen inflation and lead to a financial crisis. Top economist warns.
Yep.
Um, yeah, it says summer. He also said debt surge from Trump's plan will undermine U.S. power. Yeah.
Right
So
in line with Ray Dalio, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So We shall see, man. We
Yeah,
shall
dude.
see how it goes, man. Yeah, yeah. That's it. That's it. But hey, one thing's for certain. Whatever happens, it will happen in waves. I am confident in that.
Yes,
So,
sir.
so,
Yes, sir.
so that is how we will proceed. Gold, a lot of back and forth, but hey, it pulled back to that. Who called out this? Because I know it wasn't me. Who called out this head and shoulders on this one? I can't remember. I typically do, but I can't remember on this one.
I don't know
Carolyn
either.
said it's still great. Carolyn said she's grateful for what she learned and still learning how to trade. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, man. One big think tank here. Work through it together. I can't remember who called it either, but it pulled all it's we're at that right shoulder. So we'll see what happens with gold. I come on now, considering everything that's going on, everybody, I don't think we're nowhere near out of a area or a place in time where we don't need to be cautious. So there's I think there's definitely a need for gold, right? So I still like it over the long term. And when you think about how we came into 2024 saying gold long, it was because it was projected that we were going to be in an interest rate cutting environment. We're still in that environment. So, gold's going to figure itself out. I still like gold plays long. Um, of course, right? If you're day trading things like that, if you see 80/20s, right, you could definitely trade those. Silver, right? Silver, this is where we are, still dancing around that 80/20 zone, trying to make his mind up. It's in that monthly level, though, that 35.42, it keeps tapping that level and moving higher, but this is clearly more so a range, right, that is playing around this 80/20 zone, which oftentimes occurs. Right? But that's where we are on silver. Uh, Copper, I haven't looked at this one. And I kind of left it alone, but there we are on the 15-minute where we left off on a play, still making that swing, right, to the upside, just moving sideways right now. But you can see where we're having issues, right, around the highs, right? Anytime you see that solid black line on my chart, that's the high. That's the major high. So is doing his dance, but eventually, right, we could push past it. We got an 8-6 pullback on this 15-minute fib. So just above that major high at 521 is where that extension should be. Put that in because this actually made the U-turn and it's playing out. I hadn't looked at that in a little bit, but it's looking pretty good to finish out there. So we definitely got the direction right on that one. Almost hit it, right? Then pull back. So we'll get there. Copper. What is Ryan? Anybody? Carolyn, do you know the symbol on platinum? And then after that, the question is going to
Mhm.
be, do we have it?
Oh, Daddy, I love you. I miss you. Everything, every
What's going
day, every
on? So Pierre,
Leopold Timothy White, Gemini. Mm.
PL1 can't find a smart trader. Reese. Shout outs. Shout outs. Shout outs. What PL1 can't PL1 and trading view can't find it in smart trader. All right. So what I'll do is because we're about to close out. What I'll do, Carol, is I'll look it up in smart trader. I'll mark it up. I'll mark it up and post it in the community. And let's see where we are on platinum. Is that one is it that you trade, Carolyn? Or you're just thinking about it? All right. So that is pretty much where we are, right? So again, um, non-farm payroll, right? Non-farm payroll, major bill decision. It should be an interesting Friday to say the least. I took the correction on the 1 hour. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna mark that up and post it in the community and see where we are on that. On what was that symbol again? PL1 and trading it. Okay. Ryan, anything before we go there, Ryan. Friday's the 4th, so it's the 4th of July weekend, so we're gonna be off, right? We're gonna be off Friday and most likely Saturday. And then we'll get back at it. But it's holiday weekend here in the United States, lots of stuff going on and stuff to do. So definitely won't be on tomorrow. Ryan, my man, what you got for us?
No, man, great session, bro. Great session. Team, keep your eyes on the news today. Man, have a great weekend.
Yes, yes, indeed. Right. Have a great weekend. For us here in the United States, don't get too crazy with the fireworks. We need everybody to keep their fingers over the holiday weekend here in the United States. Uh, and if you're here in the Detroit area, stop by Joy's house and get some barbecue because I know that's I'm pretty sure why she's not on here now. She at home, she's at home prepping. So
She getting that
everybody
thing
head to
ready.
Joy's house. All right, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Friday again, right? Pay attention this morning. We got major data coming out. All right. Bye for now. Oh, and support .net. Uh
Yes, yes. And Reese.
support .net's YouTube channel.
Yes, definitely support Donet's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Congratulations
Go,
on the launch of that.
Thank you.
yeah, and yeah, for sure. Go
And
.net. What is it? What drop a link, do something real quick, or put it in the community.
The setup
Right, Reese.
diaries, the setup diaries. Hold on, I'll drop it in there. I'll drop it in the community. That was since you logging off.
Yeah, put it in
cool.
the community, right?
Yeah,
Put
the
it in the
setup
community.
diaries. I'm just trying to document, all my growth, and I really want to, I know how to trade, I know how to mark up my setups, but tracking the setups and me putting in the
Mm-hmm.
trade all the way and holding it, that was my thing, not being patient.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
eventually I'll go to track all, the setup, document my staying in the trade and how much I make. So I'm trying to link all of those together, but I'm
Yep.
only at that stage where I have to like see my trades play out with the setup. So just trying to.
Absolutely.
Also,
Absolutely. It's a go ahead,
go ahead.
Ryan.
No, go
Sorry.
ahead and finish. Go ahead and finish.
No, I was just saying it's an awesome way to hold yourself accountable and definitely track your journey. Let people see it. Support it 1,000%.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you.
congratulations, Donnet. Congratulations. Also, shout out to Reese and the work that he's doing. He's putting together some things in the background as well. So shout out to Reese and the work he's doing and what he's working to
Absolutely.
launch.
Absolutely. Drop some sevens, right? For Donette and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Reese.
Good job there, Reese.
Awesome work. Hey, shine, right? Hey, listen, don't dim your light for anybody. Get out here, right? Let the world know, let the world see your work, right? Track your journey. Get it done. We support anybody that's doing that. So again,
Yeah,
congrats,
thank
man.
you all. Both you and Ryan were very good coaches and mentors for us. So appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate the
We want to
feedback.
see you guys win, man. We want to see you guys win. So, um, if you're able to if you desire to put things out there and get it moving, let us know. We'll definitely support you. Definitely support you. So we love to see the growth and we love to see you guys continue to expand. So kudos to y'all.
No doubt, right? The setup diaries. That's a great name. I like that. All right, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. See you all soon.